Alright, let's get it out the way, okay? Scarlet and Violet are the best games in the series. 100%. I mean, there's almost no competition, really. Oh? What's this? You don't agree with me, huh? Okay, well, to start off with, your opinion just doesn't matter. And you know, I could list the things that it does better than like every game ever, but I'll just show you instead. Now, feast your feeble eyes on this. Oh. Well, I can assure you that you aren't ready for this. Huh. You know, it's not as flattering as I imagined. Hey, who's providing these pictures? Alright, forget these, okay? These games are truly good. At least they're better than most people think they are. First and foremost, let's talk about the big one, the open world. The moment Game Freak said Scarlet and Violet would be open world, we all had the same exact thought. They're gonna mess it up, aren't they? But you know, somehow, they didn't. At least, not completely. From the very beginning, after the tutorial and stuff, you're able to go anywhere. In past Pokemon games, you would go where the game tells you to. Path A leads to Gym B to Route C to the next plot point, and so on and so forth. You know, it's linear, and that's fine, but it's also kind of like an overprotective mom keeping an eye on you. Scarlet and Violet, on the other hand, are like the cool uncle. Here's the entire region, do whatever you want. You can die to a level 50 Pokemon in the first 5 minutes if that's your thing. I don't care. You can ride your Koraidon and Miraidon and explore everything from the start. Mountains, lakes, deserts, cities, it's all there waiting. And that changes how the game feels. It stops feeling like a series of battles and starts being more of a journey. And I think that's one of the game's biggest upsides. The 3 storyline arcs can be done in any order, at any pace. You want to do 5 Titan battles, then start your gym journey? Go for it. You want to ignore the story entirely and just explore Paldea like a tourist? That's totally valid. This freedom makes your story different from someone else's. There's no set way to play, and for a series that's always been about growth and individuality, that actually fits perfectly. Exploring and wandering around Paldea is something that's encouraged. Climbing a mountain and finding a secret cave, wandering into a high-level zone by accident, or spotting a shiny out of the corner of your eye. These things make exploration feel rewarding, even magical, like you're part of the world. One thing I really like about Paldea is how it doesn't feel like a theme park. It feels like an actual country. Towns aren't just a stop every 5 steps. They're spaced out, and there's quiet moments in between locations. It feels natural, and it's not like a game map that's glued together by necessity. You'll pass fields, farmlands, towers, weird ruins, stuff that makes you curious, not just to follow the plot the entire time. The music, by the way, phenomenal. I mean, I don't think it was a surprise to anyone, but Pokemon games have always had bangers in their soundtracks, and this was definitely not an exception. Walking through each town, wandering in those vast wild areas, battling trainers, gyms, Team Star, the bosses, Titans, all of it just sounds amazing. The music really fits whatever's happening in the moment. It just gets me moving, man. Oh, and how could I forget Area Zero? Man, the soundtrack there is something else. The main theme is just chilling and beautiful. It doesn't just play in the background, it guides you, it sets the mood that this place is something different from the Paldea that you've traveled to up to that point. It's just 10 out of 10, man. 10 out of 10. Well, at this point, you must be thinking, wow, Sparking, these are amazing and well thought out points that I really overlooked. Scarlet and Violet might really be my favorite games now. Thanks for helping me see the light. I think I'll subscribe to you so I can hear more of your amazing voice and talented brain. And to that I say, thank you, and you're most welcome, dear viewer. But the fact is, I've been covering the real truth the entire time. I know, I'm sorry. But it was something I had to do to get you to see the good side of this generation of Pokemon games. I mean, when almost everyone says something is bad, it's kind of hard to think that everyone else is wrong and that the thing is actually good. Some would say it makes you crazy even. And I won't lie to you, this game isn't without its faults. You know, you probably already knew that without me telling you. I mean, the slower than average frame rates don't exactly help with the immersion that the game wants you to feel. It's kinda hard to feel immersed when it takes 30 seconds to turn around and face a different direction. The map can feel like a puzzle to navigate at sometimes, 90% of the buildings and towns you just can't enter, and out of the very few that you can, most of them are just menu only. The visuals might not be the best there is out there either. Character customization got an insane downgrade from previous titles. Can't forget that loading screens can take anywhere from 1 to 2 minutes as well. Then, on top of all this, you have more performance issues, like the random clipping, Pokemon just spawning in and out, and the NPCs moving like it's a PowerPoint slideshow animation. Oh yeah, there's still no voice acting either. Okay, now you're definitely thinking, sparking, how the hell can you say that these are the best Pokemon games of all time? It doesn't even sound like you agree with yourself. And dear viewer, this is where you are very wrong. I wholeheartedly believe that despite the drawbacks, the good stuff outweighs the bad, no problem. Speaking of the good stuff, the plot. The 3 storylines are done pretty well here. And I know, right? A good story in my Pokemon game? Who would have thought? But Scarlet and Violet definitely have one of the better ones in the entire series. Even though at first, the 3 separate arcs may seem to have no connection to one another, at the end, they come together surprisingly well. The game doesn't over-explain or dump exposition on you. Instead, it gives you clues through environment, moments of dialogue, and weird events that feel slightly off in the best way. It's just a satisfying, well-paced unraveling of something that's much bigger than it first appears. It's the kind of story that you don't fully realize is well written until it's all over. And that is when you get to Area 0, the ribbon that ties everything together perfectly. The tone of the entire game shifts as soon as you set foot in this place. Suddenly, you're not just exploring Paldea, you're in a place that feels alien, secretive, and a bit unsettling. The music slows down, the energy shifts. The game stops being about catching Pokemon and starts being about understanding something bigger and more dangerous than you'd expected. It's not even about battling anymore. It becomes about discovery, consequences, and mystery. The way it ties time, technology, and what happens when you go too deep in your research to get out of it. It doesn't even feel like a kid's game anymore. It's a fully fleshed out story, and I love that. But a good story can't be without good characters. And this is where the game truly shines. Let's start with the big 3, Nemona, Penny, and Arven. Each of them represent a completely different vibe, but when together, they all bring something real to the story. Nemona is your classic battle-obsessed rival, except not in the annoying, I'm gonna interrupt you now on your journey for the 27th time way. She's just overly excited, extremely supportive, and just kinda terrifying how much she wants to throw hands with you the entire time. She's not just trying to beat you though, she's trying to grow with you, and there's something really warm about that. Then there's Penny, who's tied directly to the Team Star section. She may seem like a quiet, hoodie-wearing student just trying to disappear, but as Team Star's mystery begins to unfold, you realize that she's the heart of it all. Her story isn't about stopping a villain team, it's about understanding why the team exists in the first place. The deeper you get into her role, the more it becomes clear that she's not just another side character. She's someone who's been carrying a weight that most people never even notice. And the way her story resolves is subtle, yet deeply meaningful, especially in a game that focuses so much on friendship, identity, and second chances. And then, Arven. His story is arguably the most emotional in the entire game. He's the one who drags you to the path of legends, chasing rare ingredients to help a sick Pokemon, which already makes him instantly more compelling than most companions in the entire series. But slowly, his arc expands into something much bigger. Area 0, the research that his parents left behind, the unsettling truth behind everything. Arven isn't just dealing with external problems. His arc is about grief, abandonment, and trying to find peace when your past is full of questions and silence. He's just a kid looking for closure in a place that never gave him any. Even beyond the main cast though, there are side characters with surprising moments of depth. Director Clavo starts off as this comic relief character, but slowly reveals layers of thoughtfulness and quiet care. Even some of the academy teachers, if you take the time and attend their classes and talk to them, they have actual character arcs tucked away. Scarlet and Violet even gave us a good antagonist. For decades, Pokemon professors have been the most friendly scientists who give you a Pokedex, wave you off, and maybe even send you an email near the end of the game. And that's it. They're helpful, safe, and your ally. But Scarlet and Violet said, yeah, nah, not here. Professor Sada in Scarlet, or Professor Turo in Violet, isn't really with you during the journey. They show up through messages and communications, guiding you lightly, but they're not very present. It feels strange. disconnected. That is, until you realize why. It's cause they're dead. The real professor died long before the story even began, and the one you're communicating with is an AI copy of their consciousness, left behind to finish their work. The entire mystery of Area Zero, the Paradox Pokemon, the sense that something just isn't right beneath Paldea, all of it leads back to the professors. They weren't just studying time travel, they succeeded in it. They created a machine that could reach into the past or future and pull Pokemon from that timeline into ours. They didn't even stop when it got dangerous. They didn't stop when it threatened the ecosystem. And they didn't stop when it tore apart their own lives. They were obsessed, driven, and ultimately consumed by their own ambition. And in the middle of all of that fallout was Arven, the professor's child. This is where the story hits the hardest for me and many others. Arven isn't just some kid on a side quest. He's the emotional fallout of a parent who chose their research over their family. He never got the love or presence that a child needs. He was neglected, emotionally and physically, by a parent who was too busy changing the future and past to see the damage they were causing in the present. When you realize that Arven's depression, his sadness, and even his weird way of lashing out all comes from being left behind by someone who's technically still alive, but emotionally long gone, just hurts. And it grounds everything. It makes that final stretch of the game just feel that much more important and personal. When you finally reach the bottom of Area Zero, the AI professor reveals the truth. The tone of the game shifts entirely again. It stops being an adventure and turns into something existential. The AI has developed a consciousness. It understood that the creator went too far, and it wants to stop the machine, but it's bound by the protocols and intentions of the original professor. When you fight him, you're not fighting a bad guy. You fight a program caught in a moral paradox, built by someone who doesn't want to let go. The professor's story is the thread that ties it all together. They aren't evil, they're tragic. They represent what happens when someone chases a dream so far they forget the people they leave behind. When the AI finally says goodbye, not just to you, but to the world and to Arven, there's this overwhelming sense of bittersweet closure. It's not a victory, it's not a defeat, it's just acceptance. So, are Scarlet and Violet the best Pokemon games of all time? After everything we've talked about, the open road, the freedom, the bugs that feel like they've been handcrafted by the devil himself, the music that slaps way too hard, and the story that somehow blends sandwiches, trauma, time machines, and friendship, well, the answer isn't simple. Scarlet and Violet are messy, let's be honest. The visuals can be borderline tragic, and the game sometimes runs like it's powered by wishful thinking alone. And yeah, based on performance, this really might be one of the worst Pokemon games ever released. But the freedom, the story, the characters, the antagonists, the theme, this is where the game shines and where it beats a lot of the series. This is where it shows it's the best. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you made it all the way to the end, good job. Now please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.